Hello, everyone, and welcome to Dreamleapers Inspiration. I'm your host, Harriet Cole. So happy to be with you in 2021. Happy New Year, everyone. Happy New Year. It is my honor and delight to be here with you as we have moved from the year of 2020 into the year of 2021. What a blessing it is that we can be here together, that we have transitioned from a year that brought incredible challenge and opportunity that was a year that none of us will forget. So welcome everyone. Welcome to my friends all over the country, all over the world. I see my friend Sekou Wrights who just joined. Welcome. We've been on this journey together for a long time, as have many of us who have touched each other's lives in lots of different ways. I want to say that as it relates to Dreamleapers inspiration specifically, I began this broadcast shortly after COVID began. My assistant Deja and I were looking back to see, when did this happen? And it truly was an inspiration for me to say, how can I be connected with people that I care about? How can I share what I've learned is important to do when I feel down, when others feel down, and realizing that the way to share that reaches people as directly as we can from a distance is using technology, using this feature as well as many other ways that people use video technology to see each other and listen to each other. Some of us are just listening, others are seeing and listening. But just the fact that technology could bring us together and we could come together to share our light. And I say that because it is with conscious intention that I have come to this broadcast each of the days that I have. And we realize that I think it's more than 80 broadcasts that we've done since we began, I think back in April. And it is with the intention of sharing light. Why do I say that? Because, again, something I learned many years ago is about choice, that what many people choose to do, and I've been in this boat as well at different points in my life, when we're feeling tender, when we're feeling less than, when something isn't going right, we often choose to contact someone to commiserate about the bad stuff. Oh, I can't believe so-and-so did such and such to me. Can you believe that? And on and on and on it goes. And usually when we are feeling down, low, depleted, in need of something, we start pointing the finger at others because clearly it has to be somebody else's fault. It can't be my fault. It can't be my responsibility that something has occurred that that has made life difficult for me. It has to be somebody else's fault. Have any of you all felt that? I see my friend Wendell just joined. Wendell, have you ever felt that? Have you felt like, man, what is the reason that some difficult thing has occurred in my life? And surely it must be because something you has done, not something that I've done. Now, let's back it up and look. During COVID, we can say we didn't create COVID. This is not something that I created or you created. It part of life. You go back to biblical times, part of life, pandemics occur, natural disasters occur, awful things occur. Sometimes we can't even point our finger then and say, it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. So in this space of what people often do, which is trying to blame someone or something else for what is happening to us, in that space, I created Dreamleapers Inspiration to inspire us not to go down that path, to inspire us to make a different choice, to make the choice to connect with people who will help to brighten our light, who bring their light to this experience, and we bring our light to the experience. And therefore, we illuminate what's happening in our world in ways that can help us to be inspired, even when it seems impossible sometimes to see the light. And I think it's worked. I think that many of us have gathered together, people who are my personal friends, people who have shared with other folks. This broadcast has gone all around the world. In real time, and then as people share it later, we've turned it into a podcast, so you can find Dreamleapers Inspiration with Harriet Cole wherever podcasts are found. That was a dream I had. We've talked about dreams during these many months of being together, about what will we do? What will you do? What will I do during this period of COVID that we can look back on and say, we contributed to our lives, to the lives of our families and friends, to our culture, to our community in a meaningful way. When you look back and think about that, what can you say you have done? And guess what? Sadly, COVID isn't over, but because we're always looking for the positive, you still have time right now to contribute more. And so this contribution of Dreamleapers Inspiration, created to connect us to each other, to uplift us, to inspire us, to leap into our greatness, to make the choice to be our best, to make the choice every day to refresh and say, I can live my life to the best of my ability. I can choose the highest, even when I don't feel like it, even when I feel deflated. I can choose to be with others who will inspire me to reconnect to the greatness within. That is an action. That is a choice. Choice is an action. When you sit around and do nothing, you are making, that's a choice too. But that's not a choice that I think serves us well, serves us as individuals or us as part of a community. I believe that we serve ourselves and our community well when we're conscious and intentional about our choices, and when we make choices that reach toward the light. Think about a plant. We have a beautiful Dieffenbachia plant that my mother gave to my family and me when she moved from her apartment, I guess it's now 4 years ago, into a retirement community. And, she couldn't take everything in this large apartment she had when she was downsizing into a smaller apartment. So she gave us a huge Dieffenbachia plant that used to be in another room. And my husband and I decided we would move it into the living room because it's so beautiful and we weren't seeing it as much as we wanted to. Well, there's a giant window in our living room. And this Dieffenbachia is on its stand. And now, it's just been a couple months. Now, all of the leaves are turning toward the window, turning toward the light. Right now, there's a leaf. There are these long green leaves that are speckled with a lighter green. There's one new leaf that's growing. And they grow. They start as like a coil. And we are watching it unfurl as it grows, constantly reaching toward the light. This is a plant, arguably, is not a sentient being the way we are. And yet, innately, in the life of the plant is the understanding to reach for the light. That the light is where the life source is. Do we do that? Yes, here at Dreamleapers Inspiration, we do that. We make the choice to reach for the light, to help ignite the light in others with our light, to connect our light to God's light. This is what we do. And it's 2021. It's exciting. This year is a year that we can make that choice to reignite our flame, to step into the light, to walk in the light, to walk toward the light. When it feels dark, to know that the light is on the other side and that we can go for it. This is what we can do. This is what we know on a cellular level, just like that Dieffenbachia plant. The light is there and we must reach for it in order to live, to grow, to thrive. And so in this, the very first week of January 2021, I want us to think about renewal, that this is our moment to refresh our commitment. And I want us to consider refreshing our commitment toward the light. Think about it. Refreshing our commitment toward the light. When does that matter? When you're angry, when you're frustrated, when you're worried. It can be so easy to stumble off of your core platform that has told you that when you're feeling good, got to reach toward the light. When you're not, when you've gotten in an argument, I'm going to give you a couple of examples. If you get in an argument with someone who lives in your house, a family member, someone you love, but during COVID, we have tested each other to the limits. Have you gotten into an argument, a point of conflict with someone you love, someone who may be living with you, and you just feel like, I can't take it anymore. I'm so mad at you. I'm so frustrated. Why is this happening? Why? And that why, the cauldron of whys, starts to heat up. And you know what happens when things heat up? They can become explosive. What if in that explosive moment, you choose to pause? You choose the action. You choose to step back. You choose to look for the light. You choose to consider, how can I approach this moment differently? How can I infuse compassion in this moment? How can I see what's actually going on? I've talked to many clients who said to me, in these months and months and days and hours of being quarantined at home with people they love, sometimes people don't get along every moment. Sometimes it gets to be really, really tough. Sometimes the fuse is short. Do you want to ignite a short fuse, or do you want to pour water on it? Do you want to stir the proverbial pot, or do you want to take the flame down and let everything cool down? Let me tell you from personal experience, it is not easy to turn off the flame when you are feeling angry, frustrated, fed up. It's much easier to turn that sucker up and say, you know what I mean? It's so true. Yeah, Wendell says, take a breath. That's right, baby. Take a breath. How often do we talk about the breath? Take a breath when you are fired up. Take a breath and look at that person the way you would like to be seen. With love, compassion, and forgiveness in your heart. Refresh, reset. You don't have to hold on to the stuff that held you down in 2020. You don't. You can let go of that. It is a new day. Every day you wake up is a new day. But now we're in a new year. Take a breath. Start your day in silence, listening to your heart, trusting that wisdom that is within you is just waiting to come out and speak to you. Trust that everyone deserves love and forgiveness and respect, even in the hard times. Hey, faith is so important here because sometimes you just do not feel that you have 1 ounce left to give. And yet you can refresh. You can refresh and say, of course I do. I have the capacity to reset, to refresh, to reinvigorate myself so that I am prepared to take on whatever lies ahead. I can walk into the light. I can walk with the light. I can engage the light in others, the light in myself, the light in the moment. And it makes such a big difference. So I found quotes, not going to start this year without a quote. There were so many. Here's one that you may like because it's manageable. You know how much I like manageable steps. If you have a giant dream, it's not going to work to manifest unless you break it down into manageable steps. So look at this one. This is from the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. I'm going to read that to you again. This is powerful. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. Now I want to tell you, I have talked to people who have said to me, no, I can't do a thing until I have completely figured out the roadmap. I can't move. I cannot budge until I have mapped out the complete and total course. I do believe in planning, by the way. So planning is important. However, there's, what do they call it? It's not planning paralysis, but it's something like that. If one of you all knows what it is, write it in that chat box. But you can be paralyzed by planning, by overthinking, by over considering, which is why, as Wendell said, breathe. Instead of worrying in your brain and overthinking, be still, trust the voice within, and be ready to take action. Analysis paralysis. Thank you, Sekou. Right. Analysis paralysis. I was like, what is that called? You don't have to analyze things to death. What you need to do is begin. Have a first step. Where are you headed? If you know you're headed toward the light, now pay attention. You know, if you are paying attention for a second, you can tell if something's leading you toward the light or toward the darkness. You know if a choice that is rummaging around within your being, trying to make its way out, if it's going to lead you in a direction that's going to create fire, or if it's going to lead you in a direction that will create peace. Think of fire and water. The cooling sense of water, the ferocity of fire. Not to say that we can't be fierce. We should be fierce. But we need the ferocity calmed by the cool of the water. Yes? We need faith to say, yes, we believe we know where we're headed, and we need faith to take the first step. Take the step. I have a friend, she's passed now, but we were very, very close. And we would talk for hours about ideas and concepts. And she was a very creative person, yet she was stuck. She was depressed. And I didn't realize that at the time. We would get into debates because she was stuck. She would talk about ideas and she would not take action. And I would get frustrated with her. Come on, just do one of these things. Just do one. Pick one. I'll help you do that one. What I learned from that experience is that I cannot do for you. I can encourage you. I can make recommendations. I can engage you. And I often say, I'm engaging you. Those of you, everybody out there who's connected right now, I'm engaging you not just for you, but for me. I want to improve my life. You help me improve my life. I hope I help you improve your life. But the reality is only we can make choices for ourselves. It's just a fact. You know, they say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Fact. We can support each other. We can talk about refreshing, resetting our intentions, aligning ourselves so that we're moving into this year with clarity. We can listen to others talk about how to do it, but ultimately, we have to do it. Martin Luther King said, take the first step. Take the step. Do not sit in analysis paralysis. My friend who I told you about who was depressed, she would literally get in the bed. She'd say, I have to take to my bed and cover herself up. And the next day she would say, okay, I'm trying over. I am taking nothing away from the reality of mental illness, which depression is. If you believe that you are depressed, get help. That is so big. And in COVID, in quarantine for almost a year, many people are suffering from all different kinds of maladies, including mental health maladies. If you feel stuck and there's nothing you can do to get out of it, know that that means it's a problem. Get help. You can get help. Literally, there's mental health support just like this, using text, using this video conferencing. You don't have to leave your house. You can stay in your house if you need to and still get help. If you feel stuck and nothing that you hear, see, experience, none of the connections that we create here or in other ways in your life, that none of them is helping, that is an indication that you're stuck in the darkness. So seek the light, get help. Each of us deserves to be happy. Each of us deserves to be content. In this year, 2021, each of us deserves to explore the inner resources of our hearts. What's in there? Refresh your intention. Find it. Find what's in there. Do not hold on to the negativity of the past. Let that go. You know what happened. You know what was good, bad, indifferent in 2020. What do you bring forward in 2021? Your plan, your intention for your life. You can do it. We can do it. Refresh your intention. Refresh your commitment to move forward. We talked about Sankofa at the end of 2020, that before moving forward with our feet firmly planted, we look back to analyze what worked, what didn't work, what we want to carry forward, what we don't want to carry forward. Okay, that was last year, 2020. We are in this year, 2021, in this moment, the only moment that's promised, the moment that we're in. Make a plan, refresh your intention, reset to move forward. Take a step now. Let me tell you again what Dr. King said. Take the first step in faith. You don't have to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step. What is your first step going to be today? I want to know. Tell me what your first step is going to be. Write it down. Write down your first step. Go to my Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group and write down what your first step is going to be today. Let's tell each other, what is your first step for today in 2021 that is going to guide your steps forward? Whatever it is. What is it? Write it down. Tell me. Let's tell each other. And please share with people in your community that Dreamleapers Inspiration is now available as a podcast. I'd love for you to share with all your friends so that we can be connected even more broadly. This year, I will be hosting Dreamleapers Inspiration once a week. We started out 5 days a week in April. That's why we're up to 80. Then we moved to 3 days a week, then 2 days a week. Will now be 1 day a week. And it will be Mondays in the 9 o'clock hour in Eastern Time. I encourage you to share with your friends, join me, but also we are in the on-demand world. You can find Dreamleapers Inspiration wherever podcasts are available. And I want you to connect with me in all of those great ways. I'm really looking forward to this year, what we can do together to keep ourselves inspired, to keep ourselves walking in the light, to keep ourselves inspired to leap into our greatness. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I so appreciate you. Tell me what your first step is going to be today. Write it down. Go to Dreamleapers Inspiration Facebook group. Let's talk about it. Until next week, have a great day, have a great week, and make it count. Namaste.